Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a deeply ingrained habit for so many of us in India, hair oiling. You know, we grew up with these comforting, generational weekend rituals. But what if I told you those exact routines might actually be failing you today? If you've ever felt like you're doing absolutely everything right but seeing literally zero results, well, stick around because you are in exactly the right place.
So, let's start with that incredibly frustrating question you've probably been asking yourself after months of diligent effort. You buy the premium products, you set aside the time every Sunday, and yet, crickets. Why is my hair oil not working? It's a question echoing in bathrooms all across the country. And the truth is, it usually isn't the oil's fault at all. It's actually a series of unseen mistakes in how we're using it.
I mean, think about the classic weekend ritual. It's deeply nostalgic, right? Sitting down with a little bowl of warm oil, getting a shampoo, it feels like this beautiful connection to the past. You take your time, get a slow massage, and just relax. But man, the emotional letdown is so real when weeks pass and that hair fall and dryness, they just relentlessly continue, totally ignoring all your dedication.
Okay, so let's unpack this by fundamentally changing how we view what hair oil actually does. We really need to break this illusion that hair oil is some kind of magical standalone cure-all. Because it's not a cure, it's a support system. To actually get results, we have to understand the massive divide between what we put on the outside of our heads and what is actually going on inside our bodies. Here's the deal. Oiling provides vital external support. Its actual job is reducing friction, softening the hair, and protecting your strands from everyday breakage. But, and this is a big but, oil simply cannot cure internal biological issues. Like if you have an iron deficiency, or if your hormones are out of whack, or if high stress is spiking your cortisol, no amount of oil on the outside is going to stop your hair from falling. You absolutely have to balance both.
I actually love how Mumbai-based dermatologist Dr. Shetty explains this. She uses this totally brilliant wall analogy. Think about it like this. If you apply a beautifully expensive polish to a crumbling, weak wall, it might look a little smoother on the surface for a minute, right? But the internal structural damage is still completely there. Fixing your internal health, your nutrition, stress levels, sleep, is absolutely essential if you want that oil to show visible, lasting results on the outside.
Now, you might be wondering, well, it worked perfectly for my grandmother, so why not me? And it's a fair question. But the answer is that our scalps today are battling a continuous barrage of modern stressors that simply didn't exist back then. I mean, we are constantly exposed to fine dust and severe pollution, we're layering on styling products, inflicting heat damage, and our crazy, irregular sleep schedules completely disrupt our hair's natural repair cycles. The environment has totally changed, so our routine has to adapt.
Which brings us to the core problem, the 9 unseen application mistakes that are quietly ruining your hair care routine. So many Indians make these everyday mistakes without even realizing it, basically just blindly following tradition without considering our modern context. Let's break them down one by one.
Mistake number 1 is a massive one: applying oil onto an unwashed, dirty scalp. When your scalp is already coated in a layer of sweat, daily dust, and old product buildup, adding oil does not nourish it. Actually, scratch that, it makes it worse. The oil just mixes with all that grime to form this thick, blocking layer. It literally stops the scalp from absorbing nutrients, suffocates your roots, and leaves you with a heavy, greasy mess instead of a healthy shine. Bottom line, you always need a clean canvas. Moving on, mistakes 2 and 9 are pretty closely related. Using way too much oil and oiling way too frequently. We kind of have this mindset that more is better, but your scalp actually has a very limited absorption capacity. Anything beyond that limit just sits there on the surface, clogs your pores, and turns your head into a literal magnet for dirt. Plus, it makes washing it out incredibly difficult, meaning you end up harshly scrubbing and damaging the hair. A balanced routine of just 1 to 2 times a week is so much more effective than drowning your scalp every day.
Now, mistake 3 challenges a huge generational habit. Leaving oil in overnight might have worked decades ago in a much cleaner climate, but today, in our polluted, warm, and humid environments, it's honestly doing more harm than good. Leaving it in overnight lets the oil mix with sweat and pollution, which completely disturbs your scalp's natural fatty acid balance, leading to irritation and stickiness. For the modern scalp, just 1 to 2 hours provides all the optimal benefits without overloading it. No sleeping and a shower cap required.
Okay, mistakes 4, 5, 7, and 8 really all come down to poor physical execution. First, rubbing your scalp too hard with a really vigorous massage, that actually weakens the roots and causes breakage. You need gentle, circular motions.
Second, applying oil only to the hair lengths and skipping the scalp starves the actual follicles where growth starts. Third, using freezing cold oil seriously reduces its ability to penetrate and absorb. And finally, washing your hair too quickly after applying doesn't give the oil the time it needs to settle in, basically negating all your hard work.
Then there's mistake number 6, which comes down to a total lack of customization. Choosing the wrong oil for your specific scalp type is incredibly common. Like slathering a thick, heavy oil on a scalp that's already naturally oily, that simply destroys your natural balance and makes the greasiness noticeably worse. Heavy oils are great for dry scalps, for sure, but if you have a sensitive or oily scalp, you absolutely need something much lighter. All right, so now that we know exactly what's going wrong and the sneaky mistakes we've all been making, let's pivot to how we can actually fix it. Because it's not about just throwing out your hair oil, it's about rebuilding your routine with expert-backed solutions that actually fit into our modern world. Here is your brand new, scientifically optimized 4-step process. Step 1, always start with a clean canvas so the oil can actually penetrate. Step 2, slightly warm the oil. You don't want to overheat it, just warm it up so it spreads easily and absorbs deeply. Step 3, give yourself a gentle root massage with light, circular motions to boost that blood flow without snapping the strands. And Step 4, wash it out properly after 1 to 2 hours. Honestly, it sounds simple, but nailing these steps changes the whole game.
To elevate this routine even further, experts have some fantastic product guidelines. For regular use, you'll want to look for lightweight options. Think something like a plant-based keratin hair oil enriched with aloe vera and vitamin E. These nourish beautifully without being sticky or causing heavy buildup. And when it's time to wash it out, use a mild, gentle cleanser like Timb shampoo. It's silicone-free, paraben-free, and sulfate-free, which guarantees you remove the excess oil without stripping your scalp completely dry with harsh chemicals.
Finally, we really need to ground our expectations in biological reality. Did you know human hair only grows about 1 to 1.5 centimeters a month? That's it. It is a very slow biological process. And what this means is that consistency, not expecting overnight miracles, is the true secret to success. Most people just give up way too early, assuming the oil is a dud, when in reality, their scalp just needs them to correct those application mistakes and be a little patient. So I'll leave you with this thought to kind of challenge those long-held habits. Are you ready to stop blaming the oil and start fixing your routine? The rich tradition of oiling isn't broken, you know? Just the way we've been applying it in the modern world. I really hope this explainer empowers you to take clear, structured control of your hair health moving forward. Remember, small, consistent tweaks can completely transform the results you see. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive.